Do you know how they say that staying calm is the best way to handle any situation? Well, funny enough, sometimes being the calm one can make people around you even more angry. It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Imagine you're in a room full of people and things are getting a bit heated. Everyone's voices are rising, emotions are high, and then there's you, sitting there as cool as a cucumber. While you might think your calm demeanour is helping to diffuse the situation, it can sometimes have the opposite effect. Why? Because emotions are contagious. When people are worked up, they want others to mirror their feelings. It validates their emotional state. So, when you stay calm, it can seem like you're not taking things seriously, or worse, like you're above it all. That can be infuriating. Have you ever heard of emotional mirroring? Let's talk about this emotional mirroring a bit more. Have you ever noticed how when someone starts laughing, it's hard not to laugh with them? Emotions spread like wildfire. So, when someone's angry or stressed, they subconsciously want others to join them in that emotional space. It's like they're saying, "Hey, this is serious, get angry with me." Your calmness can be seen as a refusal to join their emotional bandwagon, which can feel like rejection or disinterest. Marcus Aurelius says this about emotions: "If all emotions are common coin, then what is unique to the good man? To welcome with affection what is sent by fate, not to stain or disturb the spirit within him with a mess of false beliefs." People often need to feel that their emotions are validated. When you're the calm one in a heated discussion, it can sometimes be misinterpreted as indifference or even superiority. It's like a silent statement that their anger or frustration isn't worth matching. This can drive them up the wall because it feels like a denial of their emotional reality. They might start thinking, "Why isn't this person as worked up as I am? Don't they care?" Here's another angle. People often misinterpret calmness. They might see your tranquility as indifference or a lack of empathy. Imagine pouring your heart out to someone about a tough day. It's already sometimes really hard to do that. But they respond with a serene smile and a "it will be okay." Well-intentioned as it might be, it can come across as dismissive. People crave validation, especially when they're upset. They want to feel heard and understood. Your calmness might be intended to reassure, but it can make them feel like their emotions are being brushed aside. Epictetus said this: "If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. If you need a witness, be your own." Calmness can also be seen as a power move. In conflicts, the calm person often appears more in control, which can be unsettling for others. Think about it. When everyone else is losing their cool, the person who remains calm seems to have the upper hand. This perceived control can make others feel vulnerable or outmatched, intensifying their anger. It's like playing a game where the rules suddenly change, and no one likes feeling like they're on the losing side. Marcus Aurelius said this: "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions, than your own soul." Calmness in the face of chaos can also highlight a power imbalance. When one person remains calm, it can come off as a way of asserting dominance. The calm person appears more rational, more in control, and this can make others feel lesser in comparison. This sense of imbalance can lead to frustration and anger, as people don't like feeling overpowered or belittled in any interaction. Have you ever heard of the term pressure cooker effect? It's what happens when people bottle up their emotions. In a heated situation, if one person stays calm while others are visibly upset, it can act as a lid on a pressure cooker. The more one person stays composed, the more pressure builds up in others until they eventually explode. Your calm demeanour can unintentionally escalate their frustration because it highlights the disparity in emotional responses. When you maintain your calmness, It can sometimes create a pressure cooker situation. The more you stay composed, the more the other person might feel the need to escalate to get a reaction. It's a bit like when a child keeps testing boundaries with a calm parent, pushing more and more to see when they'll finally snap. Your calm can be misread as a challenge, prompting others to intensify their emotions. Human beings are social creatures, hardwired for connection. When we're upset, we seek out emotional resonance from others. It's comforting to know that someone else feels what we feel, as messed up as that sounds. So, when you're calm in the face of someone else's anger, it can feel like a disconnect. It's as if you're speaking different emotional languages. This lack of shared emotional experience can create a sense of isolation, which can amplify their anger. When people are upset, they often look for a connection, a sense of shared emotion. If you're calm while they're raging, it can feel like a mismatch, creating a sense of emotional dissonance. It's almost as if you're in different worlds, and this lack of synchronization can drive a wedge between you and the other person, leading to more frustration and anger. Seneca says this: "Some of the wisest of men have in consequence of this called anger a short madness, for it is equally devoid of self-control, regardless of decorum, forgetful of kinship, obstinately engrossed in whatever it begins to do, deaf to reason and advice, excited by trifling causes, awkward at perceiving what is true and just, and very like a falling rock which breaks itself to pieces upon the very thing which it crushes." Part of the frustration also comes from managing expectations. When people are upset, they often have an implicit expectation that others will respond in a certain way, with urgency, concern, or shared frustration. Your calmness disrupts that expectation, creating a mismatch that can lead to anger. It's not that your calm is wrong, it's just unexpected. People are creatures of habit, and when their expectations aren't met, it can throw them off balance. People's expectations play a big role here. When someone is upset, they often expect a mirrored response. It's almost an unspoken rule that if they're angry, you should be too, or at least show some heightened emotional response. When you respond calmly, it breaks this expectation, which can be jarring and upsetting, leading to more anger and frustration. Interestingly, patience, a close cousin of calmness, can also be a trigger. When someone is angry or upset, they often want immediate resolution or action. Patience can be perceived as a delay, a lack of urgency in addressing the problem. In a world where instant gratification is the norm, patience can feel like an unnecessary pause, exacerbating the frustration of those who are already on edge. Patience is a virtue, they say, but in the heat of the moment, it can feel like a roadblock. When people are agitated, they want quick resolutions. Your patience, while meant to be constructive, can feel like a stalling tactic, adding fuel to the fire of their frustration. It's a delicate balance between being patient and being seen as responsive and proactive. Epictetus says this: "You have inner strengths that enable you to bear up with difficulties of every kind. You have been given fortitude, courage, and patience. Why should I worry what happens if I am armed with the virtue of fortitude? Nothing can trouble or upset me, or even seem annoying. Instead of meeting misfortune with groans and tears, I will call upon the faculty especially provided to deal with it." There's a certain strength in non-reactivity. By staying calm, you're not giving others the power to disrupt your emotional state. However, this strength can be perceived as a threat or a challenge. If someone is trying to provoke a reaction and you remain unfazed, it can frustrate them further, making them feel like they're not getting through to you. It's as if they're throwing emotional darts at a wall only to see them bounce off without effect. Non-reactivity can be a powerful tool for maintaining inner peace, but it can also be seen as a barrier. When someone is trying to engage you emotionally and you don't respond as expected, it can feel like hitting a brick wall. This lack of reaction can lead to increased efforts to provoke a response, turning calmness into a trigger for further escalation. So, what can you do? How can you maintain your calm without unintentionally riling others up? Acknowledge their emotions. Start by acknowledging the other person's feelings. A simple, "I see you're really upset about this," can go a long way. It shows that you're not dismissing their emotions and that you're attuned to their state of mind. Empathize verbally. Express empathy with words. Phrases like, "I can understand why you're feeling this way," or "that sounds really frustrating," can bridge the emotional gap. It assures the other person that you're on their side. Explain your calmness. Sometimes it helps to explain why you're staying calm. You could say, "I'm staying calm because I want to help us find a solution," or "I find it easier to think clearly when I'm calm." This reframes your calmness as a strategic choice rather than indifference. Validate their experience. Make sure the other person feels validated. You might say, "Your feelings are completely valid. Let's work through this together." This reinforces that their emotions are legitimate and important. Active listening. Practice active listening. Nod, make eye contact, and offer verbal affirmations like, "I understand," or "that makes sense." This shows that you're engaged and invested in their emotional state. Offer solutions. Instead of just staying calm, offer practical solutions. This demonstrates that you're not just a passive observer, but an active participant in resolving the issue. Stay present. Be fully present in the conversation. Put away distractions and give the person your full attention. Your calm presence, combined with genuine attentiveness, can be very soothing. Match their energy to a degree. Without losing your composure, try to match a bit of their emotional intensity. This doesn't mean getting angry, but you can raise your voice slightly or use more animated gestures to show that you're emotionally engaged. Reflect on your calmness. Consider whether your calm demeanour is always the best approach. Sometimes, showing some emotion could help the situation. Next time you find yourself in a situation where your calmness seems to be provoking anger, remember, it's not about you being wrong or insensitive. It's about understanding the nuances of emotional dynamics and finding ways to connect with others authentically. Let's continue exploring these intriguing facets of human behavior together, because understanding ourselves and each other is what makes our conversations so enriching. Cheers to navigating the paradoxes of life with grace and understanding.